in this, you seed it in this way. Say, for example, you can ask, well, do you like listening to music? If she says yes, oh, well, I've got a great playlist. We can actually go and listen to that later on. And that is actually very suggestive to sex. You don't have to be scared of doing it. It's something, you're playing a bit of a risk. In this video, we're going to talk about sex locations. One of the most overt sex location is your home or your place where you live. This is a bit of a problem because many girls, again through my experience, find that going to your place very difficult. So there is a number of solutions that you can actually go for. First of all, you've got to understand that it takes a bit she's got to be comfortable with you in order to actually go home with you. And then when she goes home with you, doesn't really mean that anything is going to happen anyway. So, most important thing is, in most cases you have to spend in the region of 3 to 4 hours before that is okay. I always try to jump ahead and do it much faster than that, because I want to become the super layer, so to speak, the one who actually does it really effectively. And so I always try to push the boundaries of what is possible. So I always try to do it much faster than it should be. So I always try to go for a close much more often, much earlier than you should actually do it. So the usual sex location is your home, but it mustn't be. There is another thing that you can do, is the park, because many times, or some places that are quite similar to a park at night, or some places where she would actually not expect it to happen there and then. Say for example, a little story that I've got is I got a girl that everything was actually working fine. The noggin was there, everything was working fine, and she would actually keep saying it, I'm not going home with you tonight. And from my experiences, if she didn't actually do it, it wouldn't actually happen anyway. So at that time, I had a girlfriend who usually stayed in my place anyway. So what I'd done, my solution to that was actually walk through my home, on the street of my home. I actually seen my girlfriend's car parked over there. So what I've done instead is, although she actually clearly said to me that she wouldn't actually go home with me, I tried anyway, because from my experience, even if they say, when you try, you're holding in hands, you're trying to go home with them, they can actually do it without any resistance, especially if you spent 3 hours or 4 hours with you. So, but I've seen her car there, the other girlfriend's car, who usually stayed with me at the time. So instead of going there, I actually said, well, we're going to the park. And she agreed to that. And that date at the time actually converted to sex in the park. And converted really easily, because I played the arousal game all the time. Throughout the 3 hours, 4 hours, so she was very easily aroused, and also she spent enough time with me to make it okay, to be comfortable with me. So it was sex in the park on the first date, and things went really well. From there, then we bounced back to her hotel where she was staying at the time. So things can go well sex-wise, but you don't necessarily be going home. Now we're gonna go home to your place, or gonna just get a hotel room. You don't necessarily need to do that. So there's other places, and you can be creative depending on your logistics. But the usual way that you do it is that usually during the date, you seed the pole to your place. And you seed it in this way. Say for example, you can ask, well, do you like listening to music? If she says yes, oh, well, I've got a great playlist. we can actually go and listen to that later on, and that is actually very suggestive to sex. Or you can actually go and say, well, do you like soap opera? And say, well, I've got a great collection of soap opera at home. Which one do you like? I mean, obviously you can actually put it throughout the conversation, this sort of thing throughout the conversation, and then you suggest that is a possibility. You don't even ask, you suggest it's a possibility, and you wait for her response. If your response is not positive, then what you would actually do in the ideal world is take her to a second public venue, so to a second pub or to another, don't know, another bar, anywhere else, coffee shop, somewhere else, as long as you keep moving her. That's very, very important. And then at the second location, then you try the same thing. You try to be suggestive. I mean, suggesting going home. You don't actually say it overtly. You do not actually say it. They can ask you. If they ask you, normally I say it, so I'm not wasting my time. And then it's like this type of close. This closing for sex is very close to. It's very similar to the physical escalation. You can actually get a no, but it's not as if it's going to be a permanent no. It's a no at the time, and then if you keep being there with her, that no is very likely to convert into a yes, or a convert into a never say anything, but i.e. compliance. As I say, even if they say no when you actually walk through that through the street, you just walk home and just take her there, and then handle any objection as you encounter while you're walking home. And I suggest this particular thing of walking her home even without talking about it. I mean, usually they actually asking you where you're going. I would say it. I mean, if say for example it's already 8 or 9 o'clock at night and you've been with her for 4 hours, I would suggest, even if she hasn't agreed to go home with you verbally, you try it anyway and see what happens in the process. In many cases, they just went without even asking. It was just a natural thing. So you have to treat it. The point of this video is that you have to treat this home closing like the the physical escalation. As you say, you don't have to be scared of doing it. You're playing a bit of a risk, but after all, you're a man, she's a woman, your time is valuable, and you have to respect yourself as a man, and you have to close. And if she does not respect that, it means that she's really not down, and you may not even give her a second date. It's up to you. In that case, if they don't have anything special and they don't go down the first date, I'm not going to go for a second date. So if there's nothing interesting happening on a first date, I'm not going to go for a second date. But that's me. You may want to play a different sort of game, and it's completely up to you. But that's it for this video. Watch the infield that is following right after, which is quite interesting.
我叫阳光。如果是14岁的一个女孩，我跟沟通很容易的。你笑我，最好你笑我。美国人？没有，意大利的。脸吃寿司或者是怎么样啊？不知道。有新闻的吗？就说那时候他有，我认为。用他的话就是说他 hold 我不住，他没有办法驾驭我。他偏偏他又是很喜欢找那种可以让他驾驭的女人，但是我又不是我。好，如果是14岁的一个女孩，我明白了，24岁，哇！你去成都，你去过了吗？